Welcome to another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host, founder, and executive director of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you so much for joining us, whether this is your first episode or you've been with us the whole way. We couldn't do this without you. We couldn't be stretching uh, our voices to the ends of the earth with again, getting close to 60 countries, getting close to 700 cities. It's really remarkable, and it's really humbling to be at this point, to be speaking to you, whether you're watching or you're listening to our show. That it's just it's just a real blessing to be able to have your ear, have your eyes checking out our content. And as you know, we're everywhere, audio platform wise, video. We're on Rumble and YouTube, and you can find all episodes on all of those platforms. We have that put together, and we just again want to thank you for sticking with us. If you're able to give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, that really helps us out uh, to uh, to get closer to helping those 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And I couldn't also do this without our fabulous guests that we brought on. And this episode is another episode just like that. This episode is a second part from a first that we had with authors Leanna Shields and David Solomon, talked about a wide variety of topics as they relate to co-authoring and encouraging each other at different points of the process, and again being supportive, which uh, as we as we know, just in life, a lot of people have egos. They want to do things themselves the whole time, and the idea of working with somebody else isn't really an idea that they want, because they want full credit. So it's really humbling to hear these two authors talk about sharing that connection and working together. So we ended up our first part episode on the cozy genre that Leanna was talking about, and we were conversing before we got shut off by Zoom, but that happens. But before we jump into that, I want to make sure I give our guests the ability to plug their social medias, their books, where they can be purchased, and all those good things. So, Leanna, if you want to start, and then we'll go to David, and then we'll jump back into the cozy conversation.
Well, hi. Great to see y'all again. Great to great to
Welcome
speak to
back.
y'all again. I'm Leanna Shields. Wow, it's really hard to say that and not try and slip into my own podcast voice. Which I have a podcast called Cappy's Cozy Chair, mainly because I'm a fan of capybaras and find them the coziest animal you can think of. But I also have a series, not a series, but I've written 7 books, a series of 3 so far. Uh, the Mystic Ranch Mysteries series. Book 4 will be out soon. Uh, the title, A Year in the Crime.
Which is a really cool name.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to find that on Amazon. You can find all my books on Amazon. And if you want to take a look at things I've worked on, my website is leannashieldsbooks.com.
And you can find our other series on Amazon too. I always butcher that because I have dyslexia. The alien one that I can't pronounce.
The Alestrian Chronicles.
Yes. That
That
was,
one is a duology. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but my characters stopped talking to me after the second book. So,
I get that. And then your cyberpunk one, the old one.
oh, my steampunk one.
Yeah, cybernauts. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, the Clockwork Golem.
Yeah.
You can find that also on Amazon, and also there's a 1920s steampunk, which well, not true fans, but some stickler fans of the steampunk genre would probably say that's more diesel punk, but uh, it's called The Artifacts, and that's also on Amazon.
And it's really good. I have read that one. Um, and you've been running your own podcast. You can find Leanna sometimes doing her own campaigns like D&D sort of things, correct?
Well, those I don't share live yet, but I am planning on expanding things, and that includes right now I am hoping to start doing a not if not a stream, at least a series of videos where I play through cozy video games. Like
Ooh.
current one I've found called On Your Tail that I really want to record myself playing, even though I am horrible at video games.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I like video games, but only to a certain extent. Like I like Zelda, Super Smash Bros. Um, Spyro was really fun.
Oh,
I
I
like,
played Spyro. I loved Spyro.
yeah, those quests. Oh, Star Wars. I was an old Star Wars junkie for oh, what was it? Uh, Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy. I was a junkie for those, and so
Huh. One of my favorite Star Wars games I had was a computer version of Star Wars Monopoly.
yes, I remember those.
And I loved the fact that whenever Han Solo went into bankruptcy, he basically had a little pouty fit.
Yep, yeah. You know what's really funny? So you've seen the sequel trilogy, right?
Yes.
They just announced. So one of the characters when I was working at kind of that whole Dark Horse era before Disney bought Star Wars,
Yeah.
um, they just announced one of the old characters that I helped with is going to be in a new animated show called Maul.
Oh, awesome.
And they're remaking some of the canon. So you remember Jason and Jaina, the children of Han and Leia from old canon,
Oh,
not the
oh
new.
yeah. I grew
Uh,
up reading Young Jedi
yeah,
Knights.
yeah. So those of you who do not know, Young Jedi Knights is a series that predated baby Kylo Ren's fits. I say that with care. Um, but no, seriously, it predated. And what was it? 1997, I think, the Golden Globe.
Oh, ouch. You're gonna make me age myself, but yeah.
No, I know. No, I read Young Jedi Knights in '06, I think, when I started getting into writing. And I just loved it. I loved the Masai trees, Jason and Jaina, Zeke. I was rooting for Zeke.
Oh, I know.
Oh man. And he became the Shadow Knight, and then I remember the Night Sister Academy. It was really good. Tanil Ka, I think was her name, and she
Oh
lost her arm.
yeah.
That was really cool. Like they had a character with disabilities. Um, but point being is that really made me want to strive to write books like that.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
It's what got me into writing sci-fi myself.
Oh, that's what inspired it. Okay, I get it now. Um, I really loved it. Like it was. I like the movies. I do. but there was something magical about Young Jedi Knights. It was not in the movies, and it was just so cool to live in those characters and watch them mature. I just, and the books weren't long. They weren't these giant Lord of the Ring books. They were like 150 to 200 pages.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Some of them were shorter than that, actually. Um, and I guess that's what really got me into the idea of creating shorter novels, which you can relate to, because your books are not 400 pages long, you know?
No, they are not. I like keeping them shorter.
And that's a good thing. Like some readers' attention spans can get really annoyed with a 400 pager. Um, I I like to hook my readers. Originally, when I ghost wrote, I was writing really long novels, but then I saw the drag of it. Like, there's only so much you can do in a 400-page book where a character is like, he said, she said, and they said, and that, and oh, the wall was green and the wall was gray, and now we're getting redundant in chapter 46, and we're repeating ourselves, man. So I like to like have a little bit of variety and be like, okay, let's have one story be 100 to 200 pages and call it a day, put a bow around it, wrap it up, that's done, and let's have another story as the sequel, and let's not kill our readers' eyes and go, oh wow, this is 500 pages. Yeah, I'm not going to pick that up. And especially in like today's society, attention spans are just really bad. Um, I speak from experience. I read Fourth Wing, and it is like 700 pages.
Oof.
And by the time I got to the end, I put it this way, I really miss Young Jedi Knights at that moment in time. Interestingly enough, I read the omnibus, which means like three of them were together, so it was 600 pages. But you had that break in between where it said book one, and then book two, and then book three. And you felt good when you finished book one. You felt like you accomplished something in your life,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
get that.
Um, there's nothing wrong with long books if the
No.
story is justified. But if it just goes on and we're just repeating, oh dear. So, like, something I really admired about your series is they're always not too long, but not too short. Something you called me out on the other day, actually, you were like, yeah, I'm not really digging these short chapters. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I'm not digging it either. I need to rewrite this. This is crud. Shoot. Um, there was a story I picked up like a few months ago in a Walmart, and no joke, the chapter was one page and it kept changing every page. And the lady had like 500 chapters in the beginning where it says introduction. And I'm like, this isn't a long book. This is shorter than Leanna's. This is 125. How can you do that? And then I found out that she split some of the chapters to half pages. So, like, chapter 15 is this simple. I went to the
Oh.
store and I saw him and he smiled at me. And then I kissed him and said, will you marry me? And he said yes. And then his wings came flapping and he took my hand and flew me out. Chapter 16. When we were over the clouds. So that was like something I had never seen. And then the other day, I picked up a book and I'd never seen this style. You would think that you could do this, but you couldn't. You would think that you could walk that fast, but you know that you can't. How redundant is writing in that style? And those are short chapters. Those are like 2 pages, and she has like 800 chapters. This is a bestseller. I'm not going to name names, but
Wow.
like that's what secular fantasy is doing right now, by the way. They're doing this style of you did this and you did that and forget I and forget they. It's you. I don't know.
Oh,
Isn't that what
second
they
person.
isn't that what they taught us to like stay away from?
I I will admit I tried to write second person perspective before and I just
Ooh.
could not do that.
So I was taught from a young age never to write second person. Um, when I was doing a novel for a TV show I was doing at the time, the person was like, just write it in second person and call it a day. And I was like, no, no, no. And so then I wrote it third person and first person, and my editor went, how dare you? You're going to hell. Rewrite this. Rewrite it right now. And it's frowned upon to do that unless you pull it off good. I mean, it was about Green Arrow, and I got excited. I was like, I had to become someone else, something else. I was trapped on an island. That's how the TV show is, but that's not how the book is. It's Oliver was trapped on an island, and he knew that he had to become something else, someone else. And if he didn't, he would have been marooned on there forever. Yeah, I had to go back to third person in order to please the editor. Something you can relate to is pleasing editors, which is not an easy task. And more than once, they told you to rewrite something.
Oh yeah. Um Actually with my third book, um I started touching on a subject that my editor and my publisher both thought was not particularly a cozy subject, which is, I don't know if I should bring that up right now, but
I mean, I brought up everything.
right. But the missing and murdered Indigenous women issue,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
touched on that a little bit in my third book originally, but both my editor and my publisher both agreed, this doesn't really belong in a cozy, and
And
I ended
now,
up
and
rewriting
now,
it. And
and now, because of that, you're going to include that in the future in something else you're up to.
yes, it is a subject that I definitely want to cover in a future book. It's
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 real.
in yeah, it's very real, and it's actually yesterday was the day to not acknowledge but kind of memorialize, I
Yep.
guess might be the wrong word, but that cause.
Yeah.
So
Remember, honor. Yeah. Yeah. I I was gonna post something on it, but I didn't. And as a survivor of human trafficking, it's very, very dear to my heart. Um, I was in Canada with my mom in 2017, and I got to meet with one of the Indigenous people ahead of that. And it's so sad. It, in Canada alone, the statistics for that are so high.
oh, it's horrible. I forget what the statistics are, but it is awful.
Where I grew up originally, Klamath Falls, my mom would tell horse stories. We lived where a lot of natives were, and we lived in a good land, and um, my mom was native, and we we saw the horror. Like people would go missing, like walking to school back in the day. Someone would pick you up. it would happen. And even right now, even boys, not just girls, anyone who's indigenous, who's a minor, boy, you get snapped up now. One thing, Leanna, that I touch up on in a story that will be coming sometime, uh, I do touch up on that because I've seen more indigenous women become like I guess I can say this in the industry, strippers and prostitutes, and you hear about it and you see it on the street when you drive by Seattle or Portland. You see it, you hear it, and you know how they got there. You know, someone took them or sold them, you know, and it's not talked about. Where do these women go and what happens to them? Do they survive? Do they get out? Is there hope for them? And there really are no stories of redemption for them. And that's a subject my mom was very prominent about. And so I applaud you on that, and I really encouraged you to tell those stories, even if your publisher wouldn't. You need to tell those stories because those stories will save a life, and that's kind of why we have a responsibility. Uh, we're not only writers, you and I, but we're kind of like newscasters, right? Like we're trying to tell the news basically of what's going on to an audience that really just doesn't want to hear it, kind of. Would that be correct?
Yeah, uh, yeah, I can see where you're going with that, and yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. Like in one of my stories that you helped edit, I told about Ukraine, you know. I didn't say, "Oh, people are dying everywhere." I said, you know, he lost his wife there, and you know, you honored that moment and you brought awareness. And so like I believe, and I called up Holly Black and other authors in that genre because I believe our responsibility as storytellers is to make people aware of problems. Not many people know this, but do you know that movies and TV like have so much impact that they kind of run this country and kind of run the world, honestly? If you look at the different impacts that they've had and the different monumental moments that they've had on culture and history. And you look at that and go, wow, that's how powerful a storyteller can be. They can bring awareness to this issue. They can talk about this. They can show this. Those are powerful moments for storytellers. And it changes the culture. It changes the country. It changes the atmosphere of sensitivity. And we've been desensitized as a culture from indigenous missing kids or women or men. I mean, do you see any indigenous TV shows?
Not really, though.
Oh.
Actually, the Choctaw reserv have had a few faces in current movies.
Yeah.
The oh, I keep forgetting that movie. It was fairly recently with Leonardo DiCaprio. Murder of the Flower Moon or something like that, or
I know
Flower
what you're
Moon.
talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they actually filmed in Oklahoma around the the reservations there.
So there is like some representation going on. Finally.
Yeah, and there's a new one I heard word of. Um, I think it's called. Researching it is a pain because there's a Disney movie by the same title, but I think it's called Brave.
Yep. Yep. It's nothing like the Disney movie either.
Right.
There's also the CW series Trickster,
Oh.
and it's Canadian. It's about the coyote and the Native American trickster. A friend of mine did it. I kind of got to help a little bit on the folklore of it, and the son finds out his dad was a trickster and he can shapeshift, and now the son can, and it's pretty fun.
Oh, I love that. Actually, okay, I'm gonna veer off topic, but it's one of the things that got me into writing mythology is back in late 90s, early 2000s, there was a cartoon, Gargoyles.
Oh yes.
Mhm.
And one of the story arcs was the Avalon story arc.
Yep.
And they hit a lot of mythology from African to, which was where I first heard of like werecats,
Yeah,
to
that was
Native
on
American
that was
Navajo
on
trickster, which is,
yeah, that was on Toon Disney. I remember that episode.
yeah. I love that show so much.
That really spawned you to write about the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. It now we haven't had gargoyles in our stories, shockingly.
I actually have well, it's interesting you mention that because I do remember putting a gargoyle in kind of a side character in the first book. She runs the jewelry store.
Oh, okay, okay, never mind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But she wasn't like a main character. That's why it
No,
didn't stand out.
I do kind of want to work on one that gives her maybe a little, if not her, another one a little bit more prominence.
Yeah, yeah, because gargoyles are really cool,
Yeah.
and the series was phenomenal. They want to reboot it, by the way.
Oh, that scares me so much.
It scares me a lot because Disney messes up everything. They were
I
gonna.
mean, you talk about how stories can really impact current events and things like that. The episode where Broadway accidentally shoots Elisa
Yeah,
and the things that were going on with gun violence at that time was just kind of like,
it parallels to now,
yeah.
and like that's why I think it's really important to stay relevant in our storytelling. Um, I just really feel that's a need for today's world. We can impact people to have a better outlook, but also um, make better choices and be a better person. From human trafficking to drugs to mental awareness to being what faith is. These are real issues that are going on in our world, and no one wants to address them.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I think it's a good spot. We got about a minute left. David, do you want to just jump in? I know it just goes fast. It's fantastic. We'll definitely have to revisit this in the future. It's fascinating. I love it. Uh, David, if you want to touch on how people can learn about you, your work, at kind of current state.
yeah, so you can look me up, David Solomon, on Amazon. I'm trying to rework a lot of those titles on there, but I'm well known for Melon Heads, um, Bat Thing New Mexico, Seaman, Gatekeepers. But there will be some new stuff on there that's more in the Christian genre. I've written over 40 books on
Mhm.
Amazon, but in total, probably about 400 ghostwriting there and there. Um, and then the book that I helped with Leanna, that is book form. What's it called?
That is called A Year in the Crime.
Yep. And that is in the Mystic Ranch series, and you can find that available later this year under Leanna Shield's Amazon.
Good. This has been really eye-opening for me, learning, educating me on so much of the writing world, the process, inspired you both to do what you do. And I uh, agree that anything creating does have an impact on the world, unfortunately. And it does kind of guide society for better or worse. And I think that the work that both of you are doing is and will be continuing to tell the tell the story, tell the voice of individuals, of groups, not to marginalize them, but to uplift. And the hope and thoughts are that we'll be helping more people than others are not helping. So we want to thank both of you for both of these awesome episodes, Leanna Shields and David Solomon. Thank you for joining us, and we'll definitely be connecting in the future.
Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
for
been
having us.
great.
All right. Awesome. So until next time, please be a voice for you or somebody in need.